the South China Sea roils with tension. Regional powers jockey for advantage. Suddenly, the Philippines, a staunch United States ally for decades, opens defense talks with Russia. The move sends shockwaves across Asia. Is Manila about to change the game? This isn't just another diplomatic meeting. It's a bold step into uncharted territory. For years, the Philippines has depended on American military power. Now, it signals a willingness to break old patterns and explore new options. Rivals and allies alike are watching with concern, curiosity, and a hint of alarm. The world knows the stakes. The Philippines sits at a crucial crossroads, both geographically and politically. Its choices could reshape the balance of power in Southeast Asia. By reaching out to Russia, Manila hints at a future that could look very different from the past. This is not just about weapons or warships. It is about sovereignty, leverage, and signaling. The Philippines is making a statement. No single power will dictate its future. Whatever happens next, the entire region will feel the effects. Since the end of World War II, the United States has been Manila's big brother. Military bases, mutual defense treaties, and joint exercises tied the two countries together. For decades, American security guarantees shielded the Philippines from external threats, especially from assertive neighbors like China. But times change. Rising nationalism, shifting threats, and new leaders have brought different priorities. Filipino officials have sometimes resented Washington's dominance. They want more say in their own security. High-profile disputes over military aid or political interference have resurfaced old questions about dependence versus independence. Why look to Russia now? Partly, it's about hedging bets. China's growing influence in the region, alongside doubts about America's staying power, encourages smaller states to diversify their partnerships. Russia, with its advanced military technology and willingness to challenge United States primacy, looks like an appealing alternative. Of course, the United States alliance remains vital, but Manila's leaders want options. They hope to gain leverage by showing they are not locked into any single partnership. Opening the door to Moscow could be the first step toward a more independent, flexible foreign policy. So what do these expanded defense talks with Russia actually mean? First, military hardware is a major draw. The Philippines' armed forces are still modernizing. Russian arms, fighter jets, helicopters, missile systems could fill gaps that American suppliers have left unaddressed or out of reach. Second, there's training and doctrine. Russian military advisors offer different perspectives from their Western counterparts. Joint exercises or officer exchanges could help the Philippines build new skills. Learning from multiple partners enhances flexibility on the battlefield and in disaster response. Third, maritime security looms large. The Philippines faces constant pressure in the South China Sea. Russia, with its powerful navy and experience in contested waters, can offer advice, and maybe even joint patrols or intelligence sharing. This could help Manila deter encroachment by other powers. Finally, counterterrorism is on the agenda. Both countries have grappled with extremist threats. Sharing technology, tactics, and intelligence could boost Manila's capabilities in the fight against terrorism. For Filipino leaders, these concrete benefits make the talks with Russia more than just symbolism. The U.S. won't ignore these moves. Washington values Manila as a frontline partner and has invested billions in its military. Meanwhile, China's watching closely. Its ties with Moscow are strong but complicated. For ASEAN, reactions are mixed. Some see Manila's shift as pragmatic. Others worry about rising tensions. Manila must balance old alliances and new opportunities, a diplomatic high-wire act with big risks and rewards. For Manila, this outreach is really about autonomy and modernization. Relying solely on American support is risky, especially with shifting U.S. priorities. By engaging Russia, the Philippines can access new technology, diversify suppliers, and increase its bargaining power with all partners. It's basically a bid for true strategic independence. Moscow, for its part, sees opportunity. Expanding ties with the Philippines pokes at American influence in Asia, a long-term goal for the Kremlin. Russian arms sales are lucrative, of course, but the bigger prize is diplomatic relevance in a region where it has often been sidelined. There's also kind of an ideological angle. Russia likes to present itself as a champion of multipolarity. a world not dominated by any one superpower. Helping the Philippines stand up to pressure, from whatever direction, fits this narrative. It also opens doors to other Southeast Asian markets. Both sides face challenges, though. Language barriers, operational differences, and political sensitivities must be overcome. But if they succeed, they could create a new model for middle power cooperation, one that balances rather than chooses sides. Yet the path forward is fraught with peril. The United States and its allies have imposed sweeping sanctions on Russia since the Ukraine war. Any Philippine deal for Russian arms could trigger penalties under U.S. laws like CAATSA, or the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. This could endanger Manila's trade, investment, and access to Western technology. There are practical risks too. Russian equipment may not always be compatible with existing systems, and training, maintenance, and spare parts could become real headaches. Then there's the question of reliability. Can Moscow deliver on its promises, given its own economic and military pressures? Economically, Manila must tread carefully. Russia is not a significant trading partner. Most of the Philippines' exports go to the US, Japan, and China. Any disruption to these markets would hurt far more than new deals with Moscow could help. Finally, there are reputational stakes. Aligning too closely with Russia, a nation often at odds with the West, could make Manila look less trustworthy to other partners. It's a delicate balancing act, with high costs if things go wrong. Is this the start of a permanent pivot toward Russia, or just a bargaining chip to get more out of the US and China? For now, it looks more like strategic hedging. Manila wants options. By playing different powers off each other, it hopes to maximize its own security and autonomy. But the move is not without risk. The Philippines could end up isolated if its partners lose trust, or worse, caught in the crossfire of great power competition. Success will require deft diplomacy, careful timing, and a clear sense of national interest. In the end, the talks with Russia mark an inflection point. They show that old alliances are not immutable. Smaller countries can, and will, seek new paths when it suits them. The rules of the Southeast Asian security game may be changing. As Manila rewrites its playbook, other nations will be watching, and maybe even following suit. The region's future is up for grabs. The Philippines may just have set the stage for a new era of geopolitical maneuvering in Southeast Asia.